I'm sure a few will find that multiplying cruelty fun, but for a game that makes exploration its reward, having to trudge through the same area a dozen times isn't just a grind, it's boring. Couple that with some imprecision about how Slug Cat and enemies move, and it's sometimes not even the player's fault that they've failed. Rainworld is a maddening thing because of quite how special it could have been. Beautiful environments, incredible animations, and enticingly hazy mechanics are fantastic, but the sheer cruelty of how it's paced out transcends challenge and becomes an unwanted trial.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
But it's also brutally unforgiving and inaccessible, especially at first. If you just play games to be entertained, then Dark Souls isn't for you. But if you're at all interested in just how far a video game can go, how singular and focused it can be in its vision, Dark Souls is unmissable.
Hypocrite.
In Rainworld, the specter of failure, often caused by events you can't control, lingers heavily. Its stunningly detailed backgrounds and few rewarding gameplay opportunities are vastly outweighed by its platforming imperfections and hibernation mechanic, which makes little sense in its connection to accessing new areas. Oftentimes, the frustrations resulting from failure devolve into apathy, which is a wholly unfortunate outcome for a game that gives off a deceptively promising first impression.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Having to trudge through the same area a dozen times isn't just a grind, it's boring.
You're fake news. You have an agenda. The numbers that you gave are wrong.
So now I'm just going to read a couple of comments from this terrible review from GameSpot. And IGN was bad enough, but GameSpot, Jesus Christ. I mean, talk about the gaming industry not understanding what makes a good game. You know, the AAA space has corrupted the kind of discussion around games because it's either good because it's AAA, shiny graphics, and, you know, button prompts, or it's bad because actually these dipshits can't play games. This has been one of the most frustrating, rage-inducing, unfair games I've ever played. Also, one of the best. Absolute masterpiece. Reviewers never seem to reach the end of this game. I wonder why. A half-rabbit, half-slug creature. How do you mess that up? Maybe because they didn't play the game? Reminds me of another game, you know, something that everyone hated when it first released. I think it was called something like Demon Souls? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That got terrible reviews. I'm glad they never made another game like Demon Souls. Wait a minute. No, they did. They made Dark Souls and Elden Ring. But for some reason GameSpot and IGN like those games. I wonder, is it because they suddenly got good? It's so funny to look back and know all of these reviewers are such whiners. I think you're looking for the word shills, but I digress. They get what they can get out of a few hours of gameplay to show off what they know nothing about, and clearly have no interest in exploring further. This review literally covers one of the three difficulties. I've never given much mind to a game reviews from these companies who have nothing to do with the industry besides money. Commentary. Independent reviewers now have a space and platforms to share more meaningful reviews to games. Oh, well, I hope so. And gain well-deserved traction. Maybe not, but I'm gonna make this video anyway because Rainworld deserves it. How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host, the savior. Yes, that's right. I'm back to give you some good quality content. Now, if you are new to the channel, which is rather likely, do consider subscribing. It takes 2 seconds of your time, but just go down below, press that little button and subscribe. Turn on notifications, give the video a like if you enjoy it. I don't usually ask for all this shit, but to be honest, this video probably won't get many views because it's about a game that no one really cares about, which is a shame because this game deserves your attention. Join this fantastic community. We are getting close to 10k. That would mean so much to me. And if you do want to support me, consider dropping a donation or joining as a member. I don't have Patreon as of yet, but I will at some point. And just check out my synth music if you like electronic cyberpunk music on Spotify. Check out Purple Nova. Yeah, I'm sure you will like it. Enough shilling. So today I'm going to be giving you my Rainworld 2023 review, okay? But you can also class this as Rainworld 2024 review because basically we are almost close to the new year and this is probably the most up-to-date Rainworld review that you can find on YouTube. So just class this as Rainworld in 2024 review and a Rainworld 2023 review. It doesn't really matter. It's an up-to-date look at this game after the release of the DLC. And usually that's not important when it comes to games, but with Rainworld it's super important because Downpour offers, think of it as Cyberpunk 2.0, okay? The amount of content added in this DLC alone is just incredible, okay? So there were like 12 zones before, now there's 22 different zones, so many different playable characters. You can play it in co-op mode, local co-op, and it's just a great time. So let me step back a little bit and just talk about how I found this game in the first place. So I was browsing YouTube, and pretty much the only popular video about this game, and it just randomly came up as I was looking, into, what makes a good AI system. This random video appeared called Rainworld, the most complex ecosystem in gaming. Now this game is gigantic, so I will try and show you gameplay that doesn't have any spoilers in it, but like I said, the DLC changed absolutely everything, so if you are going to jump into Rainworld, I highly suggest that you do download the Downpour DLC. So I found this game by researching AI because I have felt for so long that AI in modern day gaming is completely fucking useless. Broken. Starfield is a prime example, okay? This game has literally hundreds and hundreds of people working on it, and they can't get basic AI to fucking work. Just think of that for a second. A massive AAA studio like Bethesda can't get AI to actually fight you. Most of the time, they stand right in the middle of the open. They just, walk out of cover. It's easy, just point and shoot them. They're not going to even bother to fight you. They want to die, okay? They are tired of their existence as Bethesda NPCs. They want the mercy. They want the mercy kill. But it just got me thinking about how AI in games is usually super dumb because they have to make the player feel like they're powerful because most gamers are shit. And I'm not judging, like your skill levels, okay? Real gamers, people who actually play games. I'm not even talking about hardcore gamers, whatever the fuck that means. That's pretty pathetic if you class yourself as a hardcore gamer. That's all I do, I hardcore game every single day, baby. But if you just play games, you enjoy games, you play video games, most likely you're pretty fucking good, okay? Most likely you can play games. But gaming has become so big now that we get these BS journalists, these shills like GameSpot, like IGN, like some big YouTubers as well who pretend they're into games when they're not. They can't actually play video games, okay? And anything that's hard, anything that's difficult, for example, Lies of P, it's an outlier, okay? It doesn't get much praise because it's difficult, because it falls into that category. Dark Souls, or Demon Souls, was completely shat on release. Demon Souls, nobody liked it until Dark Souls came along and suddenly the cult following made it big and successful. Then, of course, the IGN journalists jumped on it and said they absolutely love it. It's an amazing game. The challenge is what makes this experience unique and fun. But let's be honest, okay? A lot of gamers have become conditioned over time. I've talked about this before, modern day gaming, okay? It's basically cinematic storytelling, a movie that you play at this point, okay? Unless if you go into the indie space, unless if you play games that actually don't fit into, standard genres that we all get nowadays, that are played out, like the open world game design approach, the linear kind of, cutscene, a little bit of action, cutscene, a little bit of action, a few random choices that aren't actual choices. That's what modern day gaming is now, okay? Or it's live service gaming. That's why a lot of good games you can find in the AA space, like Outer Wilds, okay? Or Rainworld. But Rainworld is made by a very, very tiny team, and a lot of it was just done by this one guy. And it's just so insane, okay? So I'm sorry about all of that rambling, all of that kind of backstory, but I think it's important to understand why Rainworld is basically disregarded, why no one really talks about it unless, maybe a few YouTubers have, but apart from that, it's pretty much forgotten, or no one really cares, even though Downpour came out recently, pretty much, and it changed the game forever, and it made it just so much better, but you don't hear a lot of people talking about it, so that's why. So now here is my in-depth Rainworld analysis, my Rainworld philosophy, if you will. I will dive into the philosophical aspects of it because it's a game I care about, and if it's something I really care about, I want to analyze it like a fucking autist, okay? Because I just love that shit. And the reason why I love Rainworld, and it's so weird that so many people bash on it, because the reason I love Rainworld is the same reason why Dark Souls is my favorite game of all times, okay? Because everything, people praised games like, what's that one that's kind of Dark Souls ripoff? Tunic, where you kind of have to figure out the manual for yourself. If you don't know, it's like a kind of top-down Souls clone, but it's kind of in a cutesy art style. But basically, it's not spelled out for you. There's not really any hand-holding. You have to kind of decrypt the language yourself. Rainworld is even more, obscure, okay? And that's why I love it so much. It really reminded me of playing Dark Souls 1 for the first time, that first experience. The sense of not knowing what the fuck is going on. You don't know anything about this world. You don't know anything about the mechanics. You don't know how to progress. You don't know what you're doing. It doesn't tell you shit, okay? And I know, fair enough, some people might not like that. And if you just don't like that type of experience, that's fair enough. But disregarding something because it's hard makes no sense when a lot of popular games are praised because of their difficulty. So you see where I'm getting at. It just doesn't make sense in the sense of the gaming industry. So let's just get into it, and I'll give you my Rainworld 2023 review, or why you should play Rainworld in 2023, or why you should definitely pick it up in the new year and play Rainworld in 2024. Rainworld, if you don't know anything about it, is basically a 2D platformer, but it goes much deeper than that. This is basically a life simulator, okay, an ecosystem simulator. And believe me, I'm not fucking joking when I say that, okay? There is so much life in Rainworld, and all of them act like actual creatures. Like you're actually stranded on some kind of disturbing, rotting, alien world, and this landscape is hostile, okay? These things want to kill you. These creatures want to eat you, or they just want to kill you. They just want you dead most of the time. Because the whole thing about this game, what makes it so special is the person who developed this system, okay? He literally made a whole AI system. And these AI creatures, okay, they don't react like normal AI in gaming, okay? They aren't, just scripted with, kind of strict code, and they follow a set, schedule of rules, or, they have a radius and they can't go outside that radius, like the traditional NPC thing where, huh? What's that? I hear a noise. And they just go and check their buddy out who literally died 5 feet away from them, and then you just kill them, and then the cycle continues. You just chuck a tin can, you whistle, whatever, they're fucking brain dead, okay? Now, I might sound a little bit hostile, okay? It's just because I'm so passionate about this game, and I love it so much. And trust me, if you play this, you're gonna have a great time. I just, the memories with this game, I'm always gonna cherish, I think, just like I did with Dark Souls 1. And I'm sharing this experience with someone else, I'm playing it co-op, and that makes the sense of discovery and everything so much more fun. And it really brings me back to the good old days of gaming where you're playing a game with someone right next to you physically. It's just a great time. But anyway, so the AI system in Rainworld, okay, each creature has its own set of parameters, and within those parameters, the AI can choose how to act, It's a very complicated AI. It's a very complicated AI system, and older games probably couldn't pull it off because you need modern technology. But it is almost like a ChatGPT in some ways, where it is, kind of randomly acting within its parameters, okay? And that's what makes it feel dynamic. Of course, it does have, like a limit to it, but there are basically 8 different kind of parameters of personality with each creature, something like that, and they can all basically act individually and independently without, prompts, okay? So they can just go about, do what they do, hunt, or piss off somewhere else. That's what makes Rainworld such a realistic and fascinating ecosystem, because this game world truly feels alive. and you don't matter. And I think that's why a lot of game journalists, a lot of, people just don't get this and can't play this because, you want to be the main character, right? You want to feel important. You want that power fantasy. This is the complete opposite experience. I guess if you're a goddamn sadist like I am, okay, you're gonna love this. That's my point. So the AI is super, super complicated. All of these different creatures, there's so many different creatures, from centipedes to lizards, and it's not just one lizard type. There's lizards that work together in tandem to try and corner you, using their AI systems to work together to actually flank you and corner you and get you into tight holes. It's incredible. You have camouflage lizards that aren't BS camouflage, like most games where you can still see them, but it's camouflage. No, this is fucking real camouflage. You just are climbing up, minding your own business, and bam, you're fucking dead, okay? This game holds nothing back, okay? This will beat you into submission, okay? But if you want to play it on easy mode, there is actually an easy mode available, so there's no reason not to try this game out. But I highly recommend that you do play it on Survivor, because the amount of endorphins and dopamine that releases when you actually get to a safe point or you go up the ranks, because it has a very interesting kind of leveling up system where basically it's based on a karma system, and that kind of gets into the philosophy of Rainworld in just a second, but it's very unique. Everything about this game is unique. That's so refreshing to say, because modern day gaming has felt so stale, but finally this game actually adds interesting, unique mechanics. There's nothing else like Rainworld. It borrows elements from certain games, but everything that it does is unique. So not only are the lizards intelligent and they all react differently, you get these spitting ones, you get these ones that pull you in with their tongue, all kinds of crazy shit, but also there's so much other life. There's, friendly life that you can actually make friends with or go to war with. There's a whole ecosystem at play here. Predators and prey react differently depending on, the surrounding, the kind of environment, and basically depending on what other predator / prey is around them, okay? So you, the slugcat, are at the bottom of the food chain. That is why everything fucking wants to kill you. Yes, you can eat a few, like tiny insects and plants and stuff like that, or berries, vegetables, whatever. You can be a vegan soy boy if you want, but you are basically at the bottom of the food chain, but everything else reacts to, other creatures and to their respective hierarchy in the food chain. That's what makes this game so interesting, okay? And I really have to emphasize that. That's why it reminds me of Dark Souls. Rainworld feels like the game was built around this system, and then the kind of platforming and everything else, that was second. But that takes me on to the next point, okay? The platforming in this is difficult as hell. It doesn't have invisible walls. It doesn't magically hold your hand where you can't fall off something. No, you will fall off things all the time. You have to have precise jumping, precise, accuracy with your timing and all that stuff. That's what makes this game so refreshing. And at times it is a little bit annoying, because at times the controls can bug out. I'm not going to pretend it's perfect, so just bear in mind for some frustration there. But the platforming is tight, and the movement system is what's incredible. So everything has not only incredible AI, way more complicated than most modern day games, and like I said, they all act, reactively to each other and these different creatures and stuff like that, and they all have like basically 8 different modes of, personality types that they kind of can go from, peaceful, aggressive, hunting you, all of this kind of stuff. And of course, all of the creatures will react differently. Like, for example, these long kind of tentacle creatures, they won't just like pick you up and throw you around. If you're next to water, they will pick you up and try and drown you. A lizard, for example, won't just eat you and kill you straight away. It will try and take you back to its nest. So you can actually, if you're playing in co-op, you can try and rescue your other slugcat companion if they're not already dead by chucking a spear or grabbing your friend. Stuff like this is what makes it feel dynamic. You're creating your own experience. It's not linear. Everything is reactive and adaptive. And what's really cool is you can outsmart these enemies, because at times, yes, they are very dangerous, but at times they can also mess up just like you. That's how sophisticated the AI system here is. So the next reason why I love Rainworld and why you need to play Rainworld in 2024, or play Rainworld in 2024, whatever, just play it at some point, okay? It's very important that you try this game. It's so good. It's probably one of my favorite games now of all time. So not only is the art style absolutely breathtaking, just look at it, the backdrops, you know, kind of this broken old civilization, you kind of have to figure out what's going on, not sure if things are organic or not, this kind of mystery blend to it, and just the way the lighting is kind of baked on, but it looks so beautiful, and it's not like super geometric and pixelated, it's got that kind of fine detail, but still being retro, which I really love. And the color palette, the way these enemies are, you know, color-coded. The tunnel system is also just such a great system that I don't see many platformers doing, where you can get into these tunnels and, you know, you just become like a little kind of zap of light, and you just become this kind of light source, and you can use these tunnels to your advantage. When enemies come through, you can go back, you can use this to get around between different levels. The world space is connected, just like in Dark Souls, so it's not a, you know, just like one map. You actually have to plot the course yourself, remember where you've been, remember what you need to do, and every time it's dynamic, like I said. So sometimes the food that was there before, it's not there anymore, it's in a different location. These bats have actually moved around. Rainworld always keeps you guessing, and for that, Rainworld is a masterpiece because it never ceases to be amazing. You know, maybe when I've 100% completed the game, I'll feel differently, but from beginning to end, there's always new stuff, and that's what makes this so refreshing. So, like I said, the art style is incredible, that's what pulls you in. The storytelling, nothing is told to you, you have to figure it out yourself through these cryptic images, you know, this kind of creature that's guiding you, some kind of weird alien, kind of ancient civilization that you can interact with, and these kind of ancient tribe people that you can also interact with. There's so much going on here that makes the narrative interesting, and very much similar to Dark Souls, where you have to figure it out yourself. The ecosystem and animation system here work in harmony to make this world feel truly alive. So just like the AI, everything, all the animation is randomly constructed, is dynamic, okay? So when you're moving around, it's not a set animation, you know, like when you're running in any other normal game, any game pretty much, you know, it's the same animation, just reused, and there are a lot of animations, so it doesn't look like you're just doing the same thing over and over again. But, you know, even complicated games like Red Dead Redemption 2, a lot of the animations are repeated every time you pick up a deer, whatever, okay? Rainworld has a dynamic animation system, so basically how you're reacting to the environment, you know, when you're squishing through a tunnel, when you're going through a tight space, when you're landing a jump, whatever, this is all reactive, so it's all dynamic, and that's what makes this look so amazing, you know, all of these creatures kind of crawling around, and you being a kind of slug and cat combination, that's what makes the movement feel so good. And yes, the movement is difficult, yes, you do have to master it, but it's not just simple left and right, jump. There's a whole web page, you know, on how to master the movement system. And to me, yes, that is a little bit daunting. I don't understand most of it. You can get by just by, you know, playing it as a traditional platformer, but there is a deep movement system here if you want to learn it. And that's what I love. Just like with Dark Souls, all these, you know, kind of deeper games that don't tell you what to do, but have a world space that, you know, is organic, and then you just interact with it in the way that you want to, so you can choose how much you want to learn, you know, the kind of systems and the world space. So yeah, that's down to you, and I just love that there is a deep movement system here, and the animation system just makes it all feel so organic. And of course, it wouldn't be called Rainworld without the fear of drowning. Isn't that a fun time? Now, you are a slug / cat, so you can slither around, you can get into tight spaces, but the rain will kill you, okay? You aren't you aren't an aquatic creature. Aquatic? I think that's how you say that. But basically, the rain will kill you, okay? There is no escaping it at many points. So throughout this whole game, you are on a kind of clock timer, okay? So different parts of the map will have a higher chance of raining, and you need to get to a new nest, a new kind of save point. And if you get there without dying, then you go up this karma system level, and this is how you unlock new areas, this is how things will get unlocked to you, and you will progress with the kind of story, because you can figure it out in whatever kind of way you want, and, you know, how you get there is up to you, but that's basically how you progress the game. But it's so difficult just to get from one save point to the next, one bonfire to the next, if you will, because there are so many things that just want to kill you. And if you're playing on the original difficulty, Survivor, it is very difficult. Monk mode makes everything a lot more easier, but it kind of takes away the satisfying loop because it's much easier to feed yourself. And yeah, that's pretty much the gameplay system. And that is what Rainworld is all about. You have to just go from one save point to the next, not die. This will put you up a karma system. And while you're doing that, you have to feed. You have to have a full stomach to hibernate. You are a little nesting hibernation creature, just like myself. So you need to get comfy, you need to get cozy, you need to fill yourself up. And you can do this by catching bats, eating fruit. There's so many other things that you can ingest. You can pick up plants that will work as bombs. You can take magic mushrooms and, you know, DMT with Joe Rogan. All this stuff, it's just so good. So I hope I've convinced you to play Rainworld in 2023 and that you enjoyed this Rainworld 2023 review, or play Rainworld in 2024 next year. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best games I've played in a very long time, and it's so good to see that games like this are still being made. So I urge you to support this, because this is what we need more of. This is what the game industry needs more, and you can kind of count this as my Rainworld analysis or Rainworld retrospective, because I just really want to highlight this game. I'm sure not many people will care, but if you are like me and you care about mechanics, gameplay systems, then you will love Rainworld. I just want to talk about the Rainworld philosophy and, you know, kind of what this ecosystem and world is trying to tell us. So I'm not going to give you any spoilers, because this is all just my own theories, because like I said, I haven't finished the game yet. But I do believe that this was once an ancient civilization that used to, you know, inhabit this world, and that's why everything is kind of in ruin. There is elements of technology left, and I do think these creatures evolved in the kind of Darwinian sense of, you know, survival of the fittest, because there is a clear, like, kind of food hierarchy system. But also, this game deals with kind of religious themes and morality, which I find super interesting. It has a lot going on for it. I know it just looks like a 2D platform slug game, but actually there's some deep meaning behind it. To me, what Rainworld is about is living in the moment, okay? Being a creature, just being an animal. You know, slug cats aren't exactly high conscious creatures. They aren't maybe completely self-aware, but they are obviously intelligent enough, and interacting with different life forms, you can actually have kind of conversations with them. It's all about going up the evolutionary scale, becoming a high conscious creature, and breaking out of that animal perspective. Because this, to me, really highlights a principle that I want to incorporate into my own philosophy. If you are aware, I'm building up my own philosophy, my own movement, the RUER. I've made a whole playlist about it. It's kind of the Roman Empire brought back in spirit and in terms of a kind of philosophical movement. But one of my first principles, because I'm kind of taking a lot of inspiration from Stoicism and Taoism, Buddhism and Shintoism and all kinds of stuff. But I've been thinking about this for a while, and this game truly highlighted it for me. One of my first core principles for my own philosophy will be basically for humans to basically strip their ego and remember and to view themselves, to have a perspective, a kind of self-aware analysis of themselves as simply just creatures, as just viewing yourself as an animal, as a kind of dirty ape, if you will, because humans have such a high ego, such a high regard for themselves and what we do, our accomplishments. We seem to think that we are above other creatures, that only we know the true, you know, mysteries of the universe, when in fact we don't know anything, and we're still just beginning to learn about how complicated the universe is with string theory, multiple dimensions, and understanding, you know, how the universe moves and changes based on observation. All this stuff, our tiny limited perspective. We are simply just animals, and perhaps there is no objective reality at all, and it's all just our human perspective. So view yourself as an animal. And this game really made me appreciate that kind of philosophy even more. Living in the moment, being a base instinct creature, just worrying about food, just thinking about survival. That's what Rainworld and the philosophy of Rainworld is all about. And if you want to experience that game, if you want to simulate what it's like being that kind of primitive creature, there's no better game than Rainworld. And at the end of the day, I think it's about enlightenment. It's about reaching the next step in evolution, understanding what's going on in the world. It's kind of a metaphor for understanding what's going on in our own universe, our own life, contacting higher beings and seeing, you know, if they can help you transcend. That's why Rainworld is a masterpiece, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. It really gets me thinking, and I just wish more games like this existed, because this is where storytelling truly comes into its own, because it leaves it up to you. But that's my interpretation. Please let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.